As Season 3 of the Overwatch Champions Series approaches, organizations around the globe are finalizing rosters and positioning themselves for a shot at the international stage. Nowhere has the offseason been more chaotic than in EMEA. Nearly every contender has made significant changes, and in some cases entire lineups have been rebuilt from the ground up in pursuit of competitive success. Welcome to Tank Talk, where today we're breaking down the EMEA field heading into Stage 1 of the 2026 OWCS season. We'll examine how these roster moves reshape the regional power rankings, identify where each team's strengths truly lie, and highlight the pressure points that could define their success or expose their weaknesses. Season 3 has seen the EMEA region slim its roster of competitors, dropping from 8 teams to just 6. These teams will face off in a regular season, with the top 4 advancing to the regional playoffs. From there, the surviving rosters will battle until only 2 remain, earning the rights to represent EMEA at the Champions Clash in Tokyo, Japan. Starting at the bottom of our projected standings is Team Peps, a roster filled with fan favorites that will almost certainly earn loud support from the crowd despite entering the season as the region's clear underdog. With Willis on tank, a DPS trio of Zoro, Dip, and the veteran Soon, and the support duo of Zarian and FD God, this lineup has plenty of recognizable names, but simply lacks the raw firepower found on other rosters in the region. Dip stands out as the team's best player and most consistent playmaker, and any victories Team Peps manages to secure will almost certainly revolve around his ability to take over games. While their ceiling is limited compared to the rest of the field, the roster's experience and aggressive playstyle could still make them a dangerous spoiler capable of stealing maps from the more established contenders. Next up is Qadsiah, one of the most difficult teams to evaluate entering Stage 1. Last stage they were among the most dominant forces in the region, but they now return with an entirely new lineup consisting of Vestola on tank, Ade and Taejong on DPS, and Sir Majed and Gala on support. On paper, every player in this roster has proven themselves to be individually serviceable at the professional level, yet the team raises several structural concerns. Both DPS players are Korean imports, which could introduce early communication hurdles in a mixed roster environment. In addition, Sir Majed has barely competed over the past few years, leaving questions about his current form. The roster also lacks clearly defined main tank and main support specialists, creating uncertainty about how comfortably players will adapt to their roles. If everything clicks, the talent is there for a competitive run, but there are far more questions than answers surrounding this lineup. Geekay Esports sits firmly in the middle of the pack heading into the season. With Ziad anchoring the tank role in a DPS line featuring Labda and Alpha Yi, this team possesses some of the strongest individual talent in the region. The tank position in particular should be a major strength, while the DPS line has the mechanical ceiling to compete with any roster in EMEA. However, the support duo of Finn and Haku remain a potential liability when compared to the elite backlines fielded by some of the region's top teams. There are also lingering questions about how well Alpha Yi will integrate into the roster, as it has been years since he last competed on a mixed lineup. If those issues are resolved, Geekay could easily outperform this ranking, but if not, the team may find itself struggling to keep pace with the region's elite. Anyone's Legends enters the season with one of the more intriguing mixes of established talent and emerging players. The tank line of Tama and AMDP is particularly interesting, with AMDP showing signs that he could develop into the next standout off-tank player in the EMEA scene. On DPS, Kai and Maimone bring proven experience, though Kai's career has often been defined by streaky performances that swing between brilliant and inconsistent. The support line of Canale and Crispy is serviceable, but Crispy's past performance on main support has generally been considered middle of the pack within the region. Overall, Anyone's Legends has enough pieces to threaten the playoff picture, but their success will depend heavily on whether their newer talent can rise to the level of the region's established stars. Moving into the upper tier of the rankings, Virtus.pro may very well possess the talent necessary to challenge for the top spot in EMEA. The roster features Ice on tank, Kevster and Psycho on DPS, and Landon and Fixa on support, a lineup stacked with world-class players across nearly every role. Kevster in particular has long been considered one of the most mechanically gifted DPS players in the West, though this season he will likely be tasked with filling the team's dedicated hit scan role, a position that may test the limits of his versatility. Meanwhile, Ice enters the season as a solo tank early in his career, raising questions about how quickly he can adapt to the pressure and strategic demand of the role at the highest level. If those concerns are answered positively, Virtus.pro has the raw talent to contend for the best team in the region. At the top of the ranking sits Twisted Minds, the reigning world champion and a clear favorite to dominate the EMEA region once again. After capturing the Season 2 world title, the organization returns with a roster packed with some of the best talent the region has to offer, including KSA and TVNT on tank, Quartz, JWoo, and UB on DPS, and the elite support duo of Simple and Funny Astro. Quartz in particular looks like one of the best hitscan players in the world right now, and his ability to consistently win duels and control sightlines has become a central pillar of Twisted Mind's success. With elite players at every position and championship experience already under their belt, Twisted Minds enter Season 3 not just as the favorites to win EMEA, but as a legitimate contender to once again claim the global title. With only 6 teams competing and 4 playoff spots available, the margin for error in EMEA this season will be razor thin. A single hot streak could propel a mid-table roster into contention for an international showing, while a slow start could quickly bury even the most talented lineup. Twisted Minds may enter the season as the clear favorite, but challengers like Virtus.pro and Anyone's Legend will have the individual firepower to threaten that dominance if their rosters come together at the right time. Meanwhile, teams like Geekay Esports and Qadsiah sit in a volatile middle ground where chemistry and adaptation will likely determine whether they rise into the top tier or fall short of the playoff line. Even Team Peps, despite entering as the underdog, has enough veteran presence to play spoiler in a region where every match matters. If the chaotic offseason is any indication, EMEA is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable regions in the 2026 OWCS season. Rosters are new, identities are still forming, and early results could dramatically reshape the power rankings. One thing is sure, however, by the time the dust settles and 2 teams earn their tickets to Tokyo, the path there will have been anything but straightforward. This was Tank Talk, and thank you for watching.